Hi, I'm Steve Powell, Executive Vice President of the President's Council. As you may know, our organization is dedicated to bringing buyers and sellers together in the global home building and home improvement industries. One of the roles that I've engaged over the last 18 plus years is helping suppliers pioneer the North American and European DIY markets. I should warn you, I'm not a professional speaker or entertainer, but I will take you through a brief overview of the North American market and offer some advice on how to approach this market based on my experience. First, just a little bit about the President's Council for those who are not already familiar with us. We were founded in 1987 with the idea that it's lonely at the top for presidents of companies across the supply chain in the home building and home improvement industries. The President's Council provides a forum for presidents to get to know each other, develop relationships, discuss common issues and solutions in a neutral, non-competitive environment. Through these relationships, we bring buyers and sellers together at the CEO to senior buyer, VP sales and marketing level. Currently, this involves three main approaches. Our advisory board, which is comprised of recognized industry leaders who share with us their insights and experiences so that we can develop needed and effective programs. We are guided and directed by these senior level executives from retail and distribution worldwide to achieve the Council's vision of bringing buyers and sellers together to promote industry growth. Another approach is our buying day program. It's been described as speed dating for buyers. The format is individual face-to-face introductory sales appointments between suppliers and retail decision makers. The appointments are 20 minutes where you have a chance to present your products, marketing, and compelling reason to buy and receive first-hand feedback from the buyer about your opportunity. The buying day is an excellent first step and has helped nearly 2,000 suppliers get a foot in the door with large DIY retailers in Europe, North America, and other markets. We also work with a small number of companies very selectively each year on individual in-depth projects to pioneer new markets. Okay, on to the market. I'll take you through the evolution of the market, discuss some current market indicators, talk about current channels and key players within those channels, and offer some market entry strategies. Very quickly, some background information. There is no official language in the US, although English is sort of the unofficial language and Spanish would be secondary in most areas. The population is around 316 million and the area is 9.8 million square kilometers. The US dollar is currently very strong. It's sitting at about 0.73 euros. VAT is roughly similar to our sales tax and is not included in the shelf price but is actually added at the cash register. This is because it differs from county to county, so it would make advertising price nearly impossible. This is very important as you perform your competitor analysis, and keep in mind that the sales tax will run anywhere from 8 to 13%. Per capita GDP in the US is a little over 45,000 euros. We do have a lower fuel cost, and that's important because distribution is less expensive in the US than it is in Europe. House size is sitting at about 216 square meters, and for the housing construction we have more timber, less concrete and brick, and that's important because it does change the mix of products in the stores. The US DIYer is able to tackle a lot more behind the wall projects, so the mix of products in the stores tend a little bit more heavily towards building material in the US. This is just a graph representing the top 6 DIY retailers in the world. And you'll notice that 4 of them are actually from the US. This is a consolidated market. It is also a very large market. This is also evident when you look at the store count. You'll see in blue here, most of the largest store count retailers in the world are located in the US. We're starting to see some real positive market indicators for the DIY home improvement sales in the US. The retail home improvement market is right around 290 billion euro. The National Association of Home Builders is reporting a 15% increase in 2013 and then another 9% in 2014 on housing starts. We're still only 66% back to normal, which is 1.6 to 1.7 million starts, but we expect to be there in late 2015, early 2016 because of the pent-up demand. Existing home sales do remain weak. There are some people that are underwater on outstanding mortgages, which makes it very tough to change homes. And we know that people do DIY projects when they're getting ready to move or they've just moved into a new home to start to personalize it. Builder confidence is high. We're starting to see builders building spec homes. Building inventory, which is usually currently is around 6 months, is currently only at 5. Consumer confidence is high. They're getting used to the 4.5 to 5% mortgage rate, which is up from 3.5%, but that was unrealistic, although it did get things moving. And we are starting to see remodeling bouncing back to a more normal level. The evolution of the market really began with two distinct channels. The lumber yards, which are inconveniently located out near train tracks to receive lumber shipments. They're selling construction supplies to your professional builders. They're really in the tonnage business. And then the hardware stores. These are your in-town location, general hardware, paint and electrical stores selling repair and maintenance products, typically small format, individually owned. These are your mom and pop shops. One of the evolutions on the lumberyard side is today's pro dealers. These are like your builder merchants or timber merchant outlets. The pro market is much less consolidated. It's more regional. The buyers are for commodity products and they use co-ops and distributors for other products. Two main players in this market are 84 Lumber, which was founded in 1956. They are the largest privately owned pro dealer with 249 stores in 30 states. And then ProBuild, who was actually just recently purchased. ProBuild is the largest pro dealer. They're similar in format to an 84 Lumber. They began in 1997 as they acquired other lumber yards through acquisition. They now have more than 400 locations nationwide. Like I said, these buyers are typically commodity buyers, and they purchase their hardlines through a couple of key distributors. One is one of our co-ops, which is Do It Best, and the other is Orgel. The pro dealers are there primarily to serve the builder, remodeler, the professional builder customer. Key product lines include lumber, insulation, molding, siding, decking and roofing, engineered lumber, doors and windows, plywood, trim, flooring, drywall, trusses and wall panels, skylights, and of course hardware, power tools and tools as well, and safety. In addition to the couple national pro dealers, there are quite a few significant regional pro dealers. The point here is each one of these is between $90 and $800 million in sales per year with 10 to 100 stores. It's a very large geographic market, but keep in mind for hardline goods, you're going to reach them through one of a few key distributors. Again, pro dealer outlets are located well outside of populated areas. They have large areas, often outdoor and drive-through, for bulk building material and an indoor area for hardline goods. They also normally will offer on-site job delivery. Another of the evolutions from the lumberyard was the home center concept, which developed in the 1950s and 60s. These were indoor stores from 400 to 600 square meters, and the assortment was less concentrated on only building materials, but also on some packaged goods and DIY goods. You'll see Handy Dan was a home center retailer in California. Two of the employees got in a disagreement with the owner in 1978 and ended up developing and starting the big box warehouse concept. This was Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank, who began the Home Depot. The big box warehouse strategy, developed by Home Depot, you'll be very familiar with, as this is the format that most of the major European DIY stores use. The difference with the North American stores, again, is that you'll typically have more building materials. This does lead to some lower overall margins. And this is because of the stick construction. We're able to tackle some projects behind the wall that are impossible in concrete construction. Two main strategies that are used in the big box stores are the best brand strategy. They will be obsessed with carrying the best national and local brand in every important category. This leads to a best price image. And then also the category dominance strategy. Broad and deep ranges in key categories. If you walk into a ladder or a tool area in a big box store, you're going to leave with the impression that they have every ladder or tool I will ever want. I don't need to go anywhere else. I'm in the right place. You can't talk about the big box warehouses without mentioning Home Depot. They have almost 68 billion euro in sales in 2014 with over 2,200 stores in the US, Canada, and Mexico. They are the world's largest home improvement retailer. In fact, they are the fourth largest retailer in the US of any kind and the fifth largest retailer in the world of any kind. Again, they invented big box retail. Visually, with the big box stores and the Home Depot, you're going to see warehouse shelving, wide aisles, and concrete floors. It is meant to look like a distribution center, leaving the impression that you are going to get the best price on everything purchased there. Lowe's is the second largest DIY retailer in the US. They are also the second largest in the world, with just under 43 billion euro in sales and 1,754 stores. Most stores will have a large outdoor garden area, which will include a covered area for all live goods. This is the entrance or the power aisle of my local Lowe's stores to give you an idea of what the store looks like. The wide aisles, the concrete floors, warehouse shelving. Lowe's was the first DIY retailer in the US to get into the appliance market. They are still very dominant there and doing an excellent job. This is an example of the category dominant strategy at a tool area in a Lowe's store. Something that all big box chains will do to show that they are definitely in the tool business. Again, you do not need to go anywhere else. They have every tool you could ever possibly want. As a matter of differentiation, Lowe's does court the softer size more than some of their big box competition with design areas and merchandising. But remember, Lowe's began as a traditional lumberyard. They are still very much in the construction materials business. Lowe's and Home Depot offer similar pro services, offering credit card programs to manage cash flow and discounts, expedited ordering and delivery, installer programs, continuing education, which includes English education for workers, also contractor packs, bulk discounts, and project material lists. In-store services also include blueprint estimates for materials, of course paint color matching, some translation services, design services, and also pipe threading and cutting. Menards is a privately owned company started by John Menard in an effort to finance his education. He started a roadside pole building business back in 1958. When customers began to inquire about purchasing lumber and building materials, Menards began selling to the public on a cash and carry format, which was the first Menards cashway lumber. Today, they sell approximately 7 to 8 billion euro in sales with 263 stores in the upper Midwest. A lot of products, at least in fact most products, are shipped out of 4 central distribution centers. Menards is also strong in appliances. And you'll see they use a mix of traditional shelving and warehouse racking in their very large format stores. They are a cash-rich company with outstanding warehousing and distribution. This enables them to take full advantage of opportunity buys. They use end cap areas and pallet displays extensively in the stores. Lumber and building materials have always been a very strong category for Menards. Many stores have outdoor drive-through lumber yards for professional customers providing bulk building materials, including their own pressure-treated lumber. Garden is also a strong category for Menards, from large projects to flowers and potted plants. That's how the lumberyard channel has evolved. In order to compete and survive in this landscape, the hardware stores banded together into co-ops. With the co-ops, you have store owners instead of store managers. These are entrepreneurs who have greater autonomy regarding the products and the general business of their stores than do an employee store manager. And there are a few different ways to get started with the co-ops. One is through the corporate buyer supported by a national ad program. They make the decision to put the products into distribution, advertise nationally, and push the product out to all the stores. The second way, if they aren't completely sure if the product is going to work or not, where they would normally do a test market, with the co-ops they'll invite you into one of their shows where you're actually selling the product directly to the store owners. If the pull is strong enough, if the interest is strong enough, they'll actually put the product into their warehouse, and the store owners will have the decision of whether or not they want to carry the product in their stores. And the third would be shipping directly to the stores. Oftentimes that still is going to be invoiced through the co-op directly, and which will save you having to chase down the payments from the store owners. With the margins, keep in mind there's a margin at the DC and also the store level. For the corporate margin, you can figure anywhere from 18 to 15% depending on the service. And the store margin is going to depend on the product, the turns, those kinds of things. Private label is very important and used extensively at the co-ops. This is one of the ways that they differentiate from the big box strategy of brand dominance. And also the rebates are important. These are normally a large portion of the annual profit margin. They get a year-end rebate on everything they purchase through the co-op, including those things that are only invoiced. And this encourages them to buy as much as they can through the co-op rather than on their own. We have 3 major hardware cooperatives in the U.S., True Value Hardware, Do It Best, and Ace Hardware. They're all similar in size and in store count, but for an example, True Value Hardware has an annual sales at wholesale of just under 5 billion euros. They have over 4,000 stores in the U.S. and 58 countries, with 13 distribution centers and over 2,500 employees. Store formats can vary greatly, but a typical hardware co-op store is a small format neighborhood hardware store. This means the aisles are more narrow than a big box, and the store owners, who again are entrepreneurs, are encouraged to creatively use sales space. The co-ops provide the benefit of economy of scale in purchasing, professional brand, store signage, and retail education for their members. Private label is important to all the co-ops and is used extensively. It's also a nice way for suppliers to open the market because they can take care of all the distribution and packaging and allow you to grow at a controlled pace. The big box stores are demanding. They know that they will become a large percentage of your sales, and they also know that the production increases will reduce your cost of goods. They will be expecting the costing to go down as they grow your business. This can result in too many eggs in one basket. The paint area is also a large category for the co-ops. The service center is also a very important area in the store. These stores oftentimes have former contractors and handymen working in the store. They're a great value to the customer in helping them with the know-how. Not just hardware stores join the co-ops. As we talked about before, some of the lumber yards will join Do It Best, in particular, to handle their hardlines goods. Also, some garden centers will join the co-ops for access to their distribution, private label, and retail services, as well as access to their garden tools and those types of products. Orgill is also worth mentioning, as they are a major hardline distributor, serving hardware stores as well as many pro dealers. This slide is to show the current landscape of the home improvement, home builder market in the U.S., the key players and where they're positioned within that market. The vertical axis is location. At the top are your out-of-town inconvenient locations, and at the bottom are your in-town, high street, neighborhood locations. The horizontal axis is margin. To the left are your high-turn, low-margin goods, and to the right are your packaged goods, your low-turn, high-margin. You'll see that the lumber yards live in the upper left quadrant. These are out-of-town locations, commodity building material distribution centers. The big box warehouses operate the space right in the middle, and that's actually where the home centers used to be. They've pretty much driven them out of business. There are only a few left. These are suburban locations with a mix of DIY and building materials. And you'll see where the hardware stores in the lower right quadrant have found their place to thrive and survive. These are in-town locations, high margin, low turn goods, a lot of repair and maintenance products. The other channel to mention in the market is online retail, and particularly Amazon. They have some advantages with the low overhead and no physical stores. They have distribution. They run on the high turning items, an unlimited assortment because they're not bound by brick and mortar space in the store, and the convenience of direct to customer delivery. However, we find that purchases within the online retails are more of a want than a need. If your water heater is broken, if you are leaking your sump pump into your basement, you're not going to wait 2 days for Amazon Prime delivery. You're going to go out to the store and get what you need to fix it right away. As an import vendor, you're probably going to employ one of a few key strategies. First being the cost leadership strategy. This is where you're offering the same product that is currently offered through the retailer at a better price. The second is the value added strategy. This is where you're offering a better product than they're currently carrying at the same price, actually upgrading their product offering. And the third is the comprehensive differentiation strategy. This is where you're offering something completely unique to the market, whether it's product innovation, different styles, colors, features, sizes, benefits. It could be by brand. You're differentiating through a brand that is not carried to their competition. It could be services, faster shipping, better warranties, customer service. The key here is that you're getting yourself out of it coming down to price on the decision and offering something that's totally unique and setting yourself apart. When a company's looking at pioneering a new market, they're going to typically go about it in a very organized fashion. First is the market analysis. You're going to understand the economics, demographics, geography, and customers. Next is to review your internal capabilities. Do we have the sales team to service this market? Are our logistics in place? Do we have the production capability to meet the increase in demand? Next, you're going to identify and prioritize your target customers. Then you're going to develop the market entry strategy. How much investment in infrastructure do you need? Do you need sales support? What about an office? How about a warehouse? Should you purchase an existing company? Finally, you're going to initiate sales. You're going to approach customers to convince them of your compelling reason to buy. It could be at trade shows or sales trips or some other form. Isn't this putting the cart before the horse? After all this investment and work, it all comes down to, are the buyers interested in giving you the shelf space to let your product sell in the market? Before going through all this, why not ask a few key decision makers if there's an opportunity for your product? With our buying day approach, you'll find out from the buyer if there's an opportunity before you invest all the time and money. Major DIY chain retailers in both North America and Europe already purchase product on an FOB basis from overseas and move the product through their own distribution to the stores. This is a viable way to begin business and can provide you with working capital to grow toward becoming a branded product and domestic vendor while continuing to turn a profit. With the buying day, you'll find out from the buyer themselves, is there an opportunity? If the answer to that question is yes, then what are the next steps? If the answer is no, then you'll find out why not. Then you can assess your ability to overcome the obstacle or save yourself the time and expense of steps 1 through 5 and concentrate on other opportunities. If you're interested in exploring this approach, we are currently putting together an American Buying Days trip for Eastern European suppliers for the first week of August. Retailers that have already committed to participate are Lowe's, True Value, and Menards. They represent over 6,000 stores combined and altogether over 56 billion euro in revenue. Okay, some tips on successful market entry. First, do your research. You want to understand the market. The buying day can really be a great tool for this. You want to get to know the players, you want to visit the stores and know your competition, including their strengths and weaknesses. Next is to stick with it. Don't give up. It might not happen overnight, and it might not happen in 1 or 2 sales meetings, but persistent follow-up is key to success. You want to talk directly to the consumer. Don't count on store personnel to communicate the compelling reason to buy for your products. Use all the available point of purchase materials. You want to develop direct relationships with the retailers. You don't want to rely on a rep or a broker to be your only point of contact. If a distributor is needed, use one that's already doing business with the customer. This will lessen the cost for the retailer of adding a new supplier, and it'll allow you to negotiate a cost-plus arrangement with the distributor and save some margin. And the last is to differentiate to avoid channel conflict. This can be done through brand, through product, through packaging. Thanks, and I hope this has been helpful. If you are interested in joining us for our August buying day trip, please contact Sylvester Klarowitz. He is our exclusive rep for the Polish market. His information is here on this slide. And if you'd like to learn more about the President's Council, please visit our website, which is www.presidentscouncil.com. Thank you.